Okay. Hello. Okay. Good. All right. Okay. Please. Oh wait, no. No, whatever. Come on. Oh. So many. Okay, I think he did see my comment, but like, I don't think he. Darn it. He missed. Oh yeah, that would be funny if he releases an official Camel Cards food. That would be pretty fun. Come on. Whoa, why is it disabled? Oh, oops. Okay. Is it disabled? Hello?
Hey everyone, welcome
literally
back.
have it on.
You're just in time. The pizza I've
Bro,
been cooking for the last several
sorry.
months is
For
about
some
to
reason,
enter
it's
a
I
crucial
literally had
step
it on,
in
but
its
it
cooking process,
didn't
and
count.
you're
We gotta
here
be
to
kidding me.
see it. You can see the
Whatever.
pizza completely engulfed in flames. Whenever this happens, I
Right,
usually
whatever.
just throw more Uno versions into it until it cools down. So that's what this video will be about. Welcome back to the Uno Amalgam series, where I attempt to combine every Uno version known to man. Before I get to extinguish this fire, we gotta do some clarifying. By the way, please subscribe. This video took a lot of time to edit, and I'm currently sick as I'm recording this audio. Haha,
Well,
thank
I'm
you.
sorry if
It's
you hear weird
clarification time.
noises.
And oh boy, do I have a bit to cover with this one. Let's start off by talking about the April Fool's post that Mattel decided to make. This is a real, official post. It's obviously meant to be an April Fool's joke, but look at this card. That is the Wild Draw 100
Bro.
card. This card, to my knowledge, is not available to the public and was only made for this post. But that really begs the question, is this card eligible for the Amalgam? Well, it's just one card, and I've added single card mechanics in the past because technically all of the Cobb's cards are individual cards. This card was officially made by Mattel, so it checks out there. It was even made in the art style of Uno Show 'em No Mercy, which I already added, almost implying this card is meant to belong in that deck. The only thing holding this card back is the fact that there is no way for anyone to obtain it. It hasn't been officially sold or even given away. It might not even be real, it could be photoshopped, who knows? I genuinely couldn't decide what to do with this thing, so I made a community poll asking you all what I should do. In the poll, I didn't tell you that this poll was about the Draw 100 card because I knew that if I had, you would have all been like, yeah, obviously add it. And to my surprise, the poll was not that one-sided. About 2/3 said it should be added, and about 1/3 said it shouldn't. The fact that this wasn't a landslide vote actually made my decision even harder, honestly. But it was actually the comments of this post that provided the true solution to this problem, at least in my mind. It's no secret at this point that expansions are very possible for the future. If Chemicards is successful, I would absolutely love to make expansions for all of you as well. And I think it would be fun to have an optional expansion of versions and cards similar to this one, where Mattel officially made them but never released them to the public.
Idea.
So far, that pack would include the Wild Draw 100 card and the Super Bowl 49ers deck, which I eliminated last episode. I'm going to uneliminate that version, kinda, and put it in a new category in the rules doc so we can keep track of these strange versions and cards like this. For those that don't know, the 49ers deck will never be released because the 49ers lost the Super Bowl, but we do have a lot of information of what was in that deck. Let me know if you've heard of any Uno versions that are official but not officially released. Next topic. Recently, a lot of bootleg and unofficial Uno versions have been surfacing, especially in the Discord server. I've decided to not waste your time with any more of these versions in these videos, but I will continue to update the rules doc with any bootlegs that are found, just so we can possibly avoid suggesting them for the Amalgam again. Be sure to watch out for bootlegs in general. Remember, bootlegs often misspell Mattel in the legal info on the back of the box. The most common misspellings are Natel and Mael. They also usually use an outdated Uno logo and or list a bunch of secondary publishers for no reason. Don't let these versions distract you. In the last episode, I asked you all for some help in tracking down some specific Uno versions, and I am thrilled by how much support and info you all have provided since then. While we still haven't tracked down all of the lost media, a huge chunk of it has been found. I'll be sure to cover them in future episodes. That leads me to my next point. This episode's eliminations are brought to you by me. I have a surprising amount of eliminations to go through even though this isn't an elimination episode. What fun! These versions are all in the same category. They provide nothing unique to Chemicards. I should also note that there are several entries in this list that were never released in the US, and because I don't have a VPN, I can't really confirm if some of these are real via the links that I have been sent. Obviously, I'll take your word for it for now. If anyone wants to prove me wrong, they can feel free to do so in the comments or in the Discord server. Link in the channel description. My Uno note hungers for more Uno versions. Let's get to the list.
Here, bro.
Uno, Wii, Uno, PS3, Uno, PSP, Uno, MSN Instant Messenger,
I guess it's like
Uno,
a lot of
FIFA, WM, 2006, Germany. Uno McDonald's Happy Meal promotion, Ireland, UK. Uno McDonald's Happy Meal promotion, DreamWorks, Shrek, Ireland, UK. Uno McDonald's Happy Meal promotion, DreamWorks, Madagascar, Ireland, UK. Uno McDonald's Happy Meal promotion, DreamWorks, Trolls, Ireland, UK. Uno McDonald's Happy Meal promotion, DreamWorks, Megamind, Ireland, UK. Uno McDonald's Happy Meal promotion, DreamWorks, How to Train Your Dragon, Ireland, UK. Uno Mecha Maxima. Uno Italia FIGC, aka Uno Azzurri, Italy, 2021. Uno My Melody, Japan. Uno Mini KMB, Hong Kong, 2023. Get Wild for Uno. Uno Bear Brick. Uno Pocket La Mia Pinza. Uno Pocket Hansaplast. Uno Pocket Hubo. Uno Pocket Bip. Uno Pocket Nivea. Uno Betty Boop. Uno Boston Red Sox Fenway Park. Uno Chicago White Sox US Cellular Field. Uno New York Mets Citi Field 2009-2010.
Yeah, sorry.
Uno New York Yankees 2017. Uno New York Yankees Yankee Stadium. Uno North American Fishing. Uno Philadelphia Phillies Citizens Bank Park. Uno Seattle Mariners Open Roof. Uno The Simpsons 2001-2002. Uno University of Michigan. Uno University of North Carolina. Uno University of Southern California. Uno Burger King 2012. Uno Pocket Sporting CP. Uno Pocket SL Benfica. Uno RL9. Uno Pocket Mitsis Hotels. Uno Itoke, Japan. Uno Rio no Michi, Japan. Uno Ichi no Gohan, Japan. Uno University of Texas. Uno HD Symbian. Uno Free Mobile. Uno HD BlackBerry Playbook. Uno Free Kindle. Uno BlackBerry 10. Uno Together Mobile. Uno Hungry Jack's Wild Jackpot. Uno Batman 2012. Uno Sumiko Gurashi, Japan. Uno Nintendo. Uno Aragon. Uno Star Trek Collector's Edition 2008. Uno University of Notre Dame. Uno New York Yankees Alex Rodriguez. Uno Princess 2004. Uno Fast and Furious. Uno Disney Princess Cinderella. Uno Pokemon Sword and Shield. Uno All Wild Grogu. Uno Calganet. Uno Pocket Amplifon. Uno Pocket Leibniz. Uno Zattrel. And finally, Uno Erst Sparks.
There we go.
How awesome is that, everyone?
Wow.
That's 68 versions. That means that we've surpassed 500 total Uno versions represented in Chemicards. And I haven't even done any additions yet this episode. What would I do without y'all? One more thing I just want to say. I'm done with that stupid diagram. That diagram is more trouble than it's worth, honestly. I think my time is better spent adding more Uno versions rather than slowly and carefully adding symbols to a grid of colors. And I'm sure you already know what I mean when I say I'm adding things the way I'm adding them if you've been watching this series from the beginning, which you should totally do if you haven't already. Also, check out the MasterCard stuff on my channel, it's really cool. You know, wild card slap and general rule and one per color, yada yada. I don't need to waste all of our time with that diagram anymore. Anyway, clarification time over. Let's get to the real additions now. One fun little thing I want to do is talk about a few versions of Uno that I physically own, but I somehow haven't covered yet.
What?
There's only a few of them because, as I'm sure you know, I've covered quite a lot of Uno versions in my time. First up, we got Edition 171, Uno Hot Wheels 2020. I literally forgot I owned this version, and I even had it on my list of versions to find last episode. How silly of me. Anyway, this one has the Wild Supercharged card. This essentially functions as a wild discard color card. Choose a color in your hand and get rid of all cards of that color. Simple but powerful. And I love Hot Wheels, so I'm glad that this one has a mechanic that's actually worth something. Wild card slap. So up next, we got a couple of Disney versions, starting with edition 172, Uno Disney Princess 2020. This one has the wild Power of Friendship card.
Of
There are
course.
so many cards named similarly to this one that it's kind of obnoxious, but whatever. When you play this card, choose a color, but don't tell anyone. All caps. Take a card of that color from your hand and place it face down in front of you. Then every player picks a card from their hand they
Okay.
think matches the color you just placed. Once everyone has chosen a card, you must count down 3, 2, 1, and everyone reveals their cards at the same time. All players who played a matching color get to discard the card they chose on top of the Power of Friendship card without triggering effects. If they didn't match, the card goes back into their hand. Finally, you discard the card you placed on top of that same pile. Your card also doesn't trigger effects. A bit of an overcomplicated explanation for a warlike mechanic, but it's specific enough to make it in. Wild Card Slap. Edition 173 is Uno, Mickey Mouse, and Friends. Guess what? This one has the Wild Friendship card. Yay! Mattel Uno designers.
Wow.
Please take notes. The word friendship has been used far too much to represent unique mechanics. Do not use it anymore. Anyway, when you play this card, everyone discards one, and you get to discard another card if you want. Ooh. No effects are triggered. Simple and cool, and something that benefits players, which is much more rare than things that hurt players. Wild Card Slap. One more game from my personal collection, and that's Edition 174. Uno Flip Marvel. This one has two unique wild mechanics to add.
Really?
The first one is the Wild Superhero card, which had to be changed slightly to fit the triple play wild system. When you play this card, the player with the most cards gets to discard one card on top of this card without triggering effects. Another helpful card. Could be good for team games. Wild Card Slap. The next one is the Wild Villain card. When you play this card, the player with the fewest cards must draw 3. Really similar to the Exterminate card, but fair enough. We don't have a lot of mechanics like this. Wild Slap.
Nice.
Huh. Just like that, my personal physical Uno collection is 100% represented in the Amalgam. It's a weird feeling, honestly, but it has been a long time coming considering how many Uno versions I've covered. 4 versions definitely isn't enough for one. Let me dig through my list here. What else should I do? What about food? There's actually a few more food-related versions I need to add, so that'll be the next category. Starting with Edition 175, Uno Coca-Cola 2004. This one has the Thirst card. When you play this card, choose another player. That player must draw cards until they draw either a red or any wild card. Upon drawing one of those cards, the player must place it on the Thirst card without triggering effects. Kinda basic, but still unique. And it actually kinda makes sense for a Coca-Cola version. Wild Card Slap. Edition 176. Let's finally talk about Uno Jelly Belly. This is an Uno version that came with a bunch of Jelly Belly jelly beans that you would presumably eat once the game concluded. Funnily enough, the fact that they're beans has nothing to do with the gameplay, because the beans actually function as a mechanical currency. What this bean currency does is even more funny though. Every time you are forced to draw cards, you must also take the same number of beans and add them to your personal bean pile. If at any point you get 10 or more beans, you may trade all of the beans in and discard every card in your hand except for one, giving you an instant Uno. As you can imagine, there are multiple problems with this. For one, I've said in the past that I want to avoid mechanical currencies just because adding tokens would really up the price of this game substantially. But on top of that, the very existence of this mechanic would completely remove the mercy rule and therefore mercy eliminations. And I don't want to remove mechanics that I've already added. But the bean mechanic is completely unavoidable because it's the only mechanical addition to this version. So I gotta add it somehow. Here's my plan. Instead of beans, let's just use cards from the draw pile. There's plenty of those after all. For the entire game, if at any point another player plays a card that forces you to draw more than one card, once you're done drawing, draw one extra card and place it in front of you to start your bean pile. This card is not in your hand and its effects don't matter. It is simply a bean. Continue to add one
Mhm.
card to the bean pile whenever you're forced to draw multiple cards. If at any point you get 10 or
What
more
is he gonna
total
do
cards
about
in
this?
your bean pile, you can trade them all in to discard all but one card from your hand, giving you an instant Uno. I think this is the best way to represent this mechanic
Okay.
without adding any extra physical currency
Wow.
and while
That
maintaining the
sorry if
mercy
I'm being
rule.
quiet for
It makes
but
the
yeah.
mercy
Wow.
rule much more obtainable than literally impossible to obtain,
Yeah.
because the bean pile requires 10 cards, which each require a different draw mechanic to activate. You have 10 chances to get someone's hand size over 25, and that doesn't even include mechanics that only force them to draw one card, and cards that they themselves must draw on their own. And it even adds a bit of strategy, because if someone is really close to filling their bean pile, the smart thing to do would be to hold off until you have a card that forces them to draw a really large amount of cards. Alright, that's enough about jelly beans. Next, let's talk about more Burger King versions.
Ooh.
Prepare yourselves, because if you've watched the previous episodes, and even this episode, you'll know that language and pronunciation are my kryptonite.
Uh-oh.
Edition 177.
Uh-oh.
Uno Burger King Desafio Dinosauros Brazil. This version is
Okay.
actually part of a Burger King promotional series of 6 Uno versions. Someone asked me in the comments why there are so many Uno Burger King versions, and honestly, I have no clue, but it sure is tasty.
Interesting.
These
Very
6 versions
interesting.
all have different themes, but they all contained a similar card. You'll see what I mean. This first one
Okay.
has the wild Desafio da Pegada. When you play this card, choose one of the following challenges. The next player must complete the challenge or draw 5. Here are the
Ooh.
challenges. Don't move until your next turn. Hold a card between your knees and do a lap around your opponents. Imitate a
What?
dinosaur until your next turn. Snore until your next turn. Don't talk until your next turn. Keep jumping until your next turn. Hold a card to the wall with your nose until your next turn. Keep an imaginary hula hoop spinning until your next turn. Then here are 2 really funny ones. Draw 5 and draw 1. I feel like I don't have to explain why the last 2 challenges are funny, but that's basically what all of these cards are. Really similar to Uno Dare, honestly. Wild card slap.
You just
Let's
don't want to
run
do
through
the
the rest
challenge
of
then,
these
basically.
really quick, because like I said, there's 6 of them. Edition 178.
It's funny.
Uno Burger King Desafio
There are like a lot of
Musica.
challenges.
The wild Desafio da Nota card has the following challenges on it.
Oh, no.
Sing your favorite song.
Oh, God.
Dance until your next
Forget
turn.
that one.
Imitate another player until your next turn. Accept a card from the next player in the turn order. Play an imaginary guitar until your next turn.
Bro,
Raise
go-
your arms until your next
Your
turn.
card and
Stay
everything.
silent
No, it's
until your
gonna be
next
its
turn.
own separate
Say
booklet.
Tres pratos de
Oh
trigo
my
para tres
goodness.
tigres tristes 3
Bro.
times in a row. Snap your fingers until your next turn. Edition 179. Uno Burger King Desafio Monstros. The wild Desafio do Olho card has the following challenges. Talk like an alien until your next turn. Jump like a frog until your next turn. Make funny faces until your next turn. Let someone mess up your hair. Do 10 jumping jacks. Speak without closing your mouth until your next turn. Draw 2. Imitate a chicken until your next turn. Pretend you are sleeping until your next turn. Imitate a zombie until your next turn. Edition 180. Uno Burger King Desafio Princesa. The wild Desafio
Let's say
de
Princess
Coroa card has the following challenges.
So I'm
Walk
seeing
like a
something about
model.
trackers.
Balance one card on each shoulder until your next turn. Pretend you're putting on makeup until your next turn. Spin 5 times, then take 10 steps in a straight line. Imitate a dragon until your next turn. Balance a card on your head until your next turn. Tell a story while holding your nose shut until your next turn. Sing happy birthday until your next turn. Talk like a baby until your next turn. Edition 181. Uno Burger King Desafio Robos. The wild Desafio de Engrenegem. I'm trying my best, y'all. Has the following challenges. Dance like a robot until your next turn. Talk like a robot until your next turn. Don't smile until your next turn. Stand on one foot until your next turn. Don't blink until your next turn. Speak while holding your tongue until your next turn. Show your cards. Talk to a card until your next turn. Laugh non-stop until your next turn. Finally, edition 182 is Uno Burger King Desafio Serea. The wild Desafio de Concha has the following challenges. Pretend to swim until your next turn. Imitate a
That's
mermaid
crazy.
until your next turn. Get tickled
Okay.
by someone.
Oh.
Drop one card by blowing it off of the draw pile. Sleep until your next turn. Imitate another player until your next turn. End your sentences with me until your next turn. Imitate a cat until your next turn. Imitate a pirate until your next turn. Imitate a fish until your next turn. Genuinely out of breath. That's a lot of challenges, and a lot of weird challenges at that. Sleep until your next turn? Do you fail if you don't actually fall asleep? If you're playing in a pool and you actually swim instead of pretending to swim, does it count? I don't know. That's for you to
No.
decide. These are
Yeah,
all getting
no.
wild card slaps.
Not-
Up next is even more fast food with edition 183 Uno McDonald's Party Games Japan. This one just had a wild card that allows you to discard all red cards or all yellow cards from your hand. Nothing crazy. Wild card slap. Okay, that's more than enough food for now, but we definitely need one more category to round out this episode. How about superheroes? I mean, we already talked about Uno Marvel Flip, so let's just do more superhero stuff. Why not? Edition 184, Uno Amazing Spider-Man 2023. When you play the Wild Web Sling card, you choose a color. All of the other players then must reveal their hands. Choose one of the other players that have a color that matches the color you picked. That player will skip their turn. The player after the player you skipped takes their turn next. Ooh, what a fancy skip. Also, it's nice to see some creativity from one of the most modern Uno versions. Wild Card Slap. Edition 185. Uno Batman 2005. This one has the Wild Joker's Wild 3 card. When you play this card, you have 3 opportunities to force any player to draw one card from the draw pile. Make people draw in any
Interesting.
order or combination you like. Neat. But judging by the wording of this card, you could also make yourself draw cards as well. Interesting. Why? Slap. Edition 186. Uno Fantastic Four 2005. This game wasn't even made in 2004. What a shame. This is the Wild End Zone card. When played, the player who plays it selects another player to draw cards from the draw pile until a red card is drawn. When the selected player draws a red card, they must place it on the end zone card without triggering effects. Simple, uninspired, wild card slap. Edition 187. Uno the Incredible Hulk 2003. This is the wild Gamma Blast card. This card is essentially a hand refresh, but you force someone else to do it instead.
I'm gonna
Play this card, choose a player,
try
and
to,
force them to discard their entire
basically,
hand before putting the Gamma
like,
Blast card on top of
figure out
their
the issue,
stack,
but I'm gonna
and
keep
then force them to
different
draw the
settings.
same number of cards they just discarded. It's kind of funny, honestly. I like it. Wild Card Slap. Edition 188. Uno Marvel Heroes 2010. This is the wild Feats of Fate card. When you play this card, trade any card in your hand with a draw 4 or draw 2 from the player to your left. If that person does not have either of those cards, move on to the next player. Continue this until you get a draw 4 or draw 2 card. If you receive a card, congrats, you have it now. If you don't receive a card, you may play a second card for free. This honestly could be a real combo starter. Wild Card Slap. Edition 189. Uno Superman 2006. This one has the Wild Battle card. When this card is played, the player who played it selects another player to battle. The player who played the card chooses to be either Superman or Bizarro. The player they selected is the other character. Superman must discard a blue card, and Bizarro must discard a green card on top of the battle card without triggering effects. If either player doesn't have any cards of the correct color, supposedly nothing happens. They just don't get to discard that card. Last but not least for this episode is edition 190, Uno X-Men 2003. This one has the Wild Mutate card. When you play this card, you may discard all but one card and draw the same amount of cards you discarded, or force an opponent to do that same action instead. So an almost full hand refresh that either you can use or you can choose someone else to use it. What a weirdly useful card. Wild Card Slap. How's that sweet hit of progress for you, huh? Pretty good for a sick guy, huh? That's 20 new officially
Yep.
added and a bunch more eliminated. There are now approximately 852 physical cards in the game. There are
Wow.
also approximately 561 Uno versions represented in the Amalgam. Woohoo! We're in the home
Yay.
stretch now, baby. That stretch is going to really feel like home now. Also, here's one more fun statistic for you. There are now almost 300 unique card effects in this game. That's a lot.
Jeez.
Will I be able to cover 70 plus Uno versions in the next episode? Probably not, honestly. But you should still stick around because I still have a lot of Uno versions on my list. Now it's thank you time. Time to thank the Amalgamation Donation Club for their endless generosity. Thank you very much. Splashy Flame, Skyroll of the Stars, H2O Wizard, Ava CZ, JK, Elias Stenback, 5689, Quinton, and Omicromium. Y'all already know that I appreciate your donations because I respond to literally every comment. So this is just a nice little reminder for you. Teehee. Thank you.
Wow.
It is once again time to
Yeah,
end
the
the
rule
video.
docs can be
Subscribe
really big.
if
so
you
you're
like
gonna
what
have
you
to
see.
do
Who
something
knows
about
how
that.
many episodes of this series are left, honestly. Like the video if you, in fact, liked the video.
Yeah, I wonder
Keep
why Uno
hunting for that Uno
didn't make a
lost
trace
media,
yet.
and I'll be back in 2
They
weeks.
might have actually. I think they did. 2 weeks. Alright. Alright. Well, nobody watched that, so that's cool, I guess. Nobody watched it live, but if you're not watching this live, thank you. Sorry. But yeah. So thank you for watching. If you did, if I can get in contact with Mega again, I will do a live stream of the episode 4. Is he right? So yeah. Well, because I have the list right here, but I've just been waiting and he hasn't responded yet. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I'm on to, and yeah, I'll see you maybe later today, but not definitely tomorrow. All right. Bye.